Assalamu alaikum. My name is Tayyaba Syed, and I am so honored to be here with Ikna Relief, talking about finding sincerity through Surah Ikhlas. Now, I know many of us, this is our go to surah, and it's one of the first surahs that I learned when I was young. And it's one of those surahs that, we can easily say, memorize. We're always reciting it in our salah. And so, one of the best ways that we can bring that awareness and presence in our prayer is by knowing what we're reciting. And today, inshallah, I hope from sharing the lessons and the meanings and all of the gems behind this beautiful short surah that you will be able to recite it in your prayer and use it in your daily life, not just in salah. But when you recite it, you will really be able to understand what you're saying. And then, inshallah, we will be able to reap even more reward from it. So, I want to share my notes with you all so that you can easily follow along. If you want to grab paper and pen and take notes along with me, please do so. Let's begin. Bismillah. So, we have this beautiful image of an oyster holding this little pearl. And Imam al-Razi, Allah be pleased with him, he is a famous commentator of the Quran, and he states the entire Quran is like an oyster, and the pearl is his, meaning Allah's statement, Qul huwallahu ahad. And we know that that is the beginning of Surah Ikhlas. And subhanAllah, you don't even sometimes register the fact that these few words are so heavy. They're so powerful. And Allah's given them to us as like this easy bonus where we can receive all this reward, understanding that there is no God but Him, Allah. And if you think about it, this one statement, Imam al-Razi is telling us that this one statement holds so much beauty. And, this idea of like going and diving in the ocean and looking for an oyster and then trying to find a beautiful, shiny, ready to hold this pearl. It's not easy to do. But this pearl is described as the statement where we understand who Allah is. He is the one. He is the only. And we're being told that to say it, say He is the one. So as we start diving literally into this surah, I want us to remember the weight of these words that we recite. And inshallah, after today, you will truly value it the way you would value this beautiful pearl that you're looking at, as if we found it in an oyster. So it's important to kind of just do a run through of what these verses entail. And as you can see on my screen, there's a bunch of different, as we call them, narrations or commentaries or translations of the meaning behind each verse. Now, there's only 4 verses in this surah, and for the most part, they're pretty similar, all of these translations. But let's look at the one in the second column with Sahih International, and where in the first verse it means, say, He is Allah who is one. And in the second verse, Allah, the eternal refuge, meaning the one we turn to, the one we need, the one that is the beginning and the end. He neither begets nor is born. Now, begets is like a formal English word that many of us don't use in everyday language, but basically, it's a reminder for us that Allah doesn't have children nor parents, and he wasn't born, and he is the only one. He's been the beginning, and he will be the end as well. And then the fourth verse, nor is there to him any equivalent, a reminder for us that only Allah, only there is no one like him, and subhanallah, nobody is equivalent or equal to him as well. So just keep that, going on in your mind as we go through the verses, inshallah. So Surah Ikhlas, coincidentally, is one of those surahs that has this name of al-Ikhlas, which means sincerity. But this word ikhlas is actually not in the surah, right? That word is not in the surah itself. And that is rare because, a lot of the surahs that we recite, the words that we recite, they're actually in the surah itself, but not in this surah. And so it's a reminder for us that this surah, that the title of it, Surah Ikhlas, is the meaning behind it. It's like the summary of it. If you recite this surah, it will bring you to sincerity. Now, sincerity is a characteristic or a quality that it's not something that you can give to yourself. I mean, we can say, hey, I'm a sincere person. But it has to be something that somebody else says about you, normally speaking, where, those people that know you, if they understand that you are sincere, that means you have good intentions, that you do the best to, stick to what you say and what you believe, and you have a good heart, and those type of things, then they can say, oh, my friend so and so is a sincere person. Oh, they have so much sincerity. And that sincerity comes with wanting to please Allah, right? Where you're not doing things for yourself. You're not being selfish. You're doing things for Allah and to please Him. So this surah is all about understanding that it brings us to sincerity, subhanallah. But it has many other names, and I bet you didn't know many these names, and I'm going to share with you which ones they are in a bit. But I want us to think about the fact that right before this, we did the different translations of this surah, and it was only 4 verses, right? In those 4 verses, it's just 15 words. I mean, mashallah, so many of us have this surah memorized. It's so easy. It's 15 words. And in total, there are 47 Arabic letters. So it seems like such a simple, the math is mathing. And subhanallah, for every 1 letter that we recite, we get at least 10 times the reward. So when we recite this surah, we get 470 rewards, subhanallah, just by saying these few short verses and just these 15 words. And I just wanted to start with that so we understand how giving Allah is. He is Al-Kareem. He is the generous. And with this surah, He is blessing us with all these blessings in just these few words, subhanallah. Okay, so some names of the surah, and I have some images to help you retain what we talk about today. And the first one, the absolver. SubhanAllah, this surah, as we're going to talk about it in a little bit as we go further along, but this surah, some say that was revealed multiple times in the life of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And one of the reasons why it was revealed was to absolve, or to basically get rid of this idea of, it was revealed to a people that were worshiping idols. So this surah is also known as the absolver, to basically rid the idea that no, we do not worship idols. There's only one Allah, and we only worship Him. So that's the first name of the surah. Another name is it's the reminder. And of course, this is reminding us of who Allah is, that, it's a surah of Tawheed, meaning Allah is one. And it's a reminder of our need upon Allah. We cannot live without Him. We need Allah to do everything that we do, to breathe, to eat, to walk, to talk, to see, to move, to be able to drive, to go to school. Everything is dependent on Allah. And this surah is that reminder for us how much we need Him. Subhanallah. It's also known as the surah that casts Satan away, casts shaitan away. And it's like a protection for us. It's like a shield. And shaitan does not like this surah. He does not like this surah. And so every time we recite it, it's like this like awesome shield that protects us and gets rid of shaitan. Also, Surah Ikhlas is known as the light of the Quran. Subhanallah. You know, um, if you imagine, like I'm a visual person, so I always think of this idea of like, opening the Quran to the page with Surah Ikhlas, and it's like these light beams come out, and it's just shining bright for us. And what did we say? Only 4 verses, only 15 words, only 47 letters, and yet it carries so much light with it. And of course, as we dive deeper into the surah, we'll understand why. But really, if Surah Ikhlas is the light of the Quran, that means that when we recite it, inshallah, we will also radiate that light from us. And the more we recite it, the more brighter we will become, inshallah. It's the surah of Tawheed, of understanding that there is only one Allah. These simple words, but again, so heavy and so powerful, reminding us that, and everybody around, that there is only one Allah. It's that confirmation of Tawheed, of the oneness of Allah, subhanAllah. And this is one of my favorites. It is the surah of friendship. Now, wouldn't we all love to be Allah's friend? Of course. And this surah is one of those ways to do that, to develop and connect with our Creator, and develop a relationship with Him, subhanAllah. Not just any relationship, but a friendship with Him. And as we go also further along in our presentation, we'll see how that is one of the rewards of reciting Surah Ikhlas, inshallah. But I love that name, that this is the surah of friendship, because I want to be Allah's friend, inshallah. It's the surah of foundation. Now, what does that mean? It means like this is like what everything in Islam is based off of. And this is what our faith is based on, what our belief system is based on. Everything starts from Surah Ikhlas. And subhanallah, Ali radiallahu anh, the cousin of the Prophet, as well as the son-in-law of the Prophet, he said the 7 heavens and the 7 earths were founded on, say, He is one, He is God. So subhanallah, like the universe and the heavens were created and stem off of this beautiful surah, this idea of Allah is one. So it is the foundation for everything, subhanAllah. And then it's the surah of knowledge, meaning if we really want to practice our faith fully, we have to know who our Creator is, who is Allah. And this is that surah that makes it clear as day. Allah makes it very, very, very obvious for us who he is. And if we know Him, we will love him. If we know him, we will obey him. If we know him, we will be able to do what pleases him, inshallah. So that's another beautiful name of this surah. Then we have the Surah of Beauty. Simple, there's beauty in simplicity. And as simple and short as the surah is, it is so, so beautiful. Not only that the surah is beautiful, but the more we recite it, it will make us beautiful, inshallah, inside and out. And it is a surah of prevention and security, meaning it will protect us from the punishment of the grave and the punishment of the hellfire, and it will keep us secure, that we don't go astray and we don't go off the path, and we only believe in Allah and we don't worship idols. And also it will be a prevention for us to develop hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is a big word, and it's a scary word, meaning we say something but we do opposite of that, or we say we do this but we actually do something else, or we don't stick to our word. And we want to be of those believers that truly believe, and again, having that sincerity, and that comes with this surah, and that protection and security comes with this surah, subhanallah. It's the surah of cure. This surah cures us from falling into idolatry or hypocrisy, God forbid. But it's also used as a shifa. So you can use it to help feel better, not just in your iman, but also in your health, inshallah, inshallah. And another one of my favorites is this surah is also known as the surah of attendance. Who's attending it? What does that mean? Meaning the angels love to hear this surah. So anytime we recite it, hopefully we're not reciting it really, really fast, but we're reciting it with a beautiful pace and understanding, inshallah. And when we do that, the angels come in our presence because they want to hear this surah. They love it so much. So it's like I like to call it like an angel magnet, this surah. The more we recite it, the more angels are going to want to be around us, inshallah, inshallah. All right, so now that we know some of the names, there's many, many other names, but those are some of the ones I wanted to highlight for you. Now let's talk about when the surah was revealed and why it was revealed. And I have three scenarios that it could have been revealed. And as you can see, like I said earlier, that it may have been revealed more than once. Was it revealed in Mecca? Was it revealed in Medina? And subhanAllah, there's a few questions that were presented to the Prophet. The Jews said something to the Prophet that actually really upset him. They said, this is Allah who has created the creation, so who created Allah? And he turned red in the face. And, actually Angel Jibreel, alayhi salam, had to come down and comfort him and calm him and say, just recite this surah. And this Surah Ikhlas was revealed to answer their. And it wasn't even a question. It was kind of like a punch, that they were just trying to push his buttons. And sometimes it's natural for us to go into this type of questioning. But when we understand that Allah is the first and the last, He's the beginning and He's the end. Nothing else matters. Then we understand who Allah is. And this surah is written out clearly for us to develop that understanding. Then the Quraysh, they said, they were used to idols. So they needed some type of visual. And they asked, what is he, Allah, made of? Is he made of wood? Is he made of brass? Or is he made of iron? And then, again, the surah was recited to explain that Allah is Allah. He's not made of, these things that we find on the earth. He's outside of all of that. And he created all of that. Then the Christians would question, does he have a son? And so that's where that verse comes in, that Allah has no parents and he has no children. And it's that understanding that he doesn't need either of those as well. So the point that you see at the bottom of this slide, there is no contradiction in these narrations because the question may have been asked by all of them separately. And this is evidence to the extraordinary importance of the surah, which answers the questions of all these different people from all these various groups, subhanAllah. And I want us to think about this, that sometimes when we're questioning our teachers or our leaders, we want answers. We want clear answers. And we expect like solid, good answers. But do we expect like really lengthy answers? And this surah, we know, is so short and brief, but it cuts to the chase. It is very clear and to the point. So you can't even question further. It eliminates all those other questions that you may have. And sometimes the most impact we can have is with few words. And actually that was one of the gifts that was given to the Prophet ﷺ, that he was able to say a lot in a few words and make just as, and which were just as effective and impactful, subhanAllah. So now let's go in deeper and learn some of the meanings behind the words that are in this beautiful surah. One of the names of Allah that is mentioned in this surah is As-Samad. And Ali radiallahu anh said, the perfection of sincerity to him, meaning Allah, lies in the negating of attributes from him. What does that mean? In order for us to really understand who Allah is, we have to define who he isn't. We have to make that clear, that Allah is not this, therefore he is this. So we see that in this surah it's mentioned, nor is there anyone equal to him. The Lord who is perfect in all kinds. And when we say As-Samad, we understand that he doesn't need anybody or anything. We are the ones that need him. And also the understanding that Allah doesn't even need food. He doesn't need to eat to live like we do. And one who has neither begotten, meaning nobody gave birth to Allah, or nor was begotten, meaning he didn't have children, or nor he has parents. So understanding As-Samad means that we know our full dependency on Allah. He doesn't need us, we need him. We need God. And this is that name that encompasses all of these meanings into just that one name, As-Samad. Now, how do we connect with this name? This name helps us return to Allah with a state of longing and desire at all times and circumstances. We need to understand that we need Allah when we're feeling good, things are going good, and we need Allah when things aren't good and we aren't feeling good. We need Allah at all times. When we make dua to Allah, we're asking for things that we need, correct? But ultimately, what do we need? We need Allah. And if we have Allah, then he will give us everything. How do we cultivate this name? How do we make this name part of who we are and our existence? Well, this name can help us become stronger Muslims, better Muslims, develop this spiritual ambition, meaning we're really trying to do better and be better. If we understand that we need Allah, As-Samad, we cannot live without him. And if we are like embodying this name within us is going to help us be more kind, be more gentle. It's going to help us be more disciplined with food and drink, right? It's going to help us appreciate the food that Allah has given us and knowing that He's the one that's providing that food for us. And with Ramadan, this is that month where we are really disciplined with food. And inshallah, we are constantly thinking of As-Samad, and He is the one that is providing us this nourishment in the first place. Inshallah, this name, if we embody it, we can then spend on others. We can also be giving to others the way Allah is giving to us. We can be forbearing with others. We can be patient with others. We can be more understanding. And it can help us be more obedient. Because, I mean, you know, my kids, I have 3 kids, and it's a normal thing to do. When you want something, you're nicer. So when my kids want something, they're more well behaved. They're nicer. They do their chores. They listen, and because they want to get what they want to get. We all do this. So if we understand that Allah is the one that's providing us everything, then of course we're going to obey Him and we're going to do what pleases Him, inshallah. And we're going to strive to be more obedient. If we are really living by this name of Samad, then we are lending help to others during their time of need. If things are going well with us, alhamdulillah, we should then use the blessings and abilities and talents and skills that Allah has given us to help others, especially in this month of Ramadan. What can we do to serve others, to share our blessings with others? How can we go out and serve others and give the way Allah gives us? And then be a refuge, be a safe space. People can turn to us, people can rely on us. I like to think of the word as being a resource where people can come to us in need and they know that we won't turn them away. They're safe with us. Subhanallah. Inshallah, Allah gives all of us the ability to embody this beautiful name of His. Inshallah. Now, Al-Ahad, such a beautiful name. And the Prophet said, I said Ali radiallahu anhu earlier, I'm sorry. The Prophet said, the 7 heavens and the 7 earths are founded on Qul huwallahu ahad. Remember when we said that this surah, a name of it is the surah of foundation, that the universe and the heavens, everything is stemmed off of this, is founded off of this statement, Qul huwallahu ahad. And when we understand that Allah is Al-Ahad, we understand that He is before everything and anything. He is the only, and He is alone in His oneness, subhanAllah. He is unity, meaning everything comes together for Allah's sake. Allah is the one that brings us all together and keeps us united. And He, the highest form of the expression of Allah's essence is this name right here. And knowing that Allah is independent. He's independent of everyone and everything. All the names, when we say He is unity, it means that all of the names, the 99 names of Allah, come together. All the attributes, they're all come together with this one name, Al-Ahad, subhanAllah. And this is the best way to express who Allah is when we say He is Al-Ahad. Now, one more thing I wanted to add. Sorry about that. One more thing I wanted to add here with Al-Ahad is that when we understand that Allah is al-ahad. Yes, it's essentially the same as al-wahid. But the only difference here is this emphasis on the attribute of oneness. And what do I mean by that? Wahid is the number, right? Which is also a name of Allah, meaning one. But al-ahad is he's alone in that oneness. And that is where we need to be able to understand that when we connect with this name, when we say that Allah is the one, we should not um, we should not attach anything else with Allah. And how do we cultivate this name? How do we make it part of who we are? This is through worship and sincere um, subservience to Allah and reliance on Him and obedience to Him, inshallah. So now the fun part is, the rewards and the blessings that come with this beautiful name, subhanallah. And I've listed quite a few. And inshallah, now, whenever you recite this surah, you'll be also excited to be gaining all of these rewards and blessings. We talked about earlier how one of the names of the surah is the one that casts shaitan away. And it's that protection. This surah is a protection from shaitan, and we should be reciting it all the time because shaitan wants to tempt us all the time and everywhere. This is also this surah that the more you recite it, it helps you become more increased in your faith. It makes you a even more faithful believer. And it's a protection, like we talked about, from the fire. It's a salvation from the fire, from the hellfire. It's a cure from attributing anything with Allah, from shirk, and also a cure from hypocrisy, where we practice what we preach. We don't just say something and do something else, but we actually do as we say. Now, this surah, the more we recite it, it will help us gain Allah's love. And there was this time that Ali radiallahu anh was leading salah, and he was saying this surah in the salah. And, the people that were praying behind him, they're like, why did you keep reciting this surah? And he said he wanted to gain Allah's love. He loves Allah, and he wants to gain his love through the surah, so he would recite it even more. Every time you recite this surah, you get the reward of 10 good deeds. Now remember, when we did the math earlier, there's 47 letters. So every time you recite it, you get 470 good deeds, or extra points, or how Jannah points, as I like to call them. But then we get the reward of 10 good deeds. So if you multiply 470 times 10, that's another 4,700. Oh my gosh, Allah's just like throwing the bonus points, Jannah points on us with this surah. So of course, let's jump on it and recite it as much as we can. We get the reward like that of 100 martyrs, those that give their life in the cause of Allah. We can just recite it once, and we get the reward of 100 of those shuhada. Subhanallah, Allah's made it so easy for us. Now, remember when I said that this surah is the surah of attendance, meaning the angels love this surah? The more we recite it, of course, it's that angel magnet that brings angels closer because they want to hear us reciting this beautiful surah. They love it so much. But it's also going to help us gain fame and the dua amongst the angels. They'll make dua for us. They're going to mention us by name. Hey, do you know so-and-so? Well, so-and-so recites Surah Ikhlas. And it's like we're going to be super cool amongst the angels when we recite this surah. And who doesn't want that, right? This is also that surah that gains us Allah's forgiveness. Now, in this beautiful month of Ramadan, we are striving to gain Allah's mercy and forgiveness. So, subhanAllah, we can recite this surah even more in this month. We already talked about getting 4,700 good deeds with reciting this surah. In Ramadan, that's multiplied up to 700 times. I'm not even going to do that math because my brain's going to start hurting. And I'm going to leave that up to Allah to keep track of. But subhanAllah, like I said, He's making it so easy for us. And the more we recite this surah, the more He's going to forgive us, inshallah. This is also that surah that increases us in provision. Allah is going to bless us more with more wealth, with more sustenance, with more food, with more things that we need. Everything's going to go up in abundance the more we recite this surah. Subhanallah. There's a story of this man that came to the Prophet ﷺ, and he said that he was really poor, and he was struggling, and he was hungry. And the Prophet ﷺ told him that when you enter your house, offer salam upon it if anybody is in it, and we should also say it if it's empty to greet the angels. But then recite Surah Ikhlas one time. So this man, his name was Sahil ibn Sayyid, radiallahu anh, and he said that when he did this, Allah showered him with so much provision, so many blessings of food and wealth and everything he needed, that eventually the provisions overflowed onto his neighbors. Meaning, like, then he had to share all of these goods and foods and wealth that Allah was blessing him with, that he had to then start sharing it with his neighbors. Subhanallah. And so this is that surah that can help us increase in provision, inshallah, the more we recite it, especially when we enter our homes. This is that surah that can gain us Jannah. We all want Jannah, right? That's what we're striving for. This is that surah that can help us get there, inshallah, inshallah. And of course, like we mentioned, this is the surah of knowledge. It's going to help us know who Allah is. And when we know who Allah is, then we're going to obey Him. Then we're going to do what we can to please Him. Then we're going to do everything we can to earn those extra credit points, right? And people want us to not know who Allah is. But Allah wants us to know who He is. And He's given us this surah to understand that. When you attach this surah to your dua, it is part of an answered dua then. So we know that there's 3 ways a dua is answered. One is you will get what you ask for in this dunya, or Allah will instead protect you from something else, maybe something bad that was going to happen, or you will receive the answers to your dua in Jannah, in the next life. But if you attach Surah Ikhlas to it, I like to consider it like a nice, beautiful, gift wrap and a nice, beautiful bow that we are wrapping our dua in and then sending it up, right? Like a good presentation of our dua. So when you attach it to our dua, inshallah, the chances of it being answered are even greater. And then, of course, this is the surah of friendship. The best friendship we could strive for is Allah's friendship. What is better than that? And this is that surah that can get us a friendship with Allah. Now, I know many of you know this surah. Inshallah, now going forward, I hope, inshallah, that this surah becomes a close companion of yours, a close friend of yours. And through this surah, inshallah, we will gain so many blessings, so many rewards. We'll gain that strong faith that we need to get through our everyday. And Allah will be happy with us, and He will shower us with His love, and shower us with His forgiveness, and shower us with His blessings. And inshallah, we get to be with Him in Jannah through this surah as well, and be protected from the hellfire. So I just want to show some beautiful ways, some creative ways that this surah is written in different forms of calligraphy, because again, I'm a visual person, so I love to see it in different forms. And every time you recite it now, I hope it has a different flavor, and it brings you to that sincerity that you know who your creator is, and you understand how easy He has made it to gain His love and His pleasure through this surah, inshallah. And with that, we'll go ahead and close with dua. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. Ya Allah, we begin with you and we continue with you. We thank you for this opportunity to come together, to remember you, to remember your beloved Prophet Muhammad. May your peace and blessings be upon him. Ya Allah, we ask that you make this surah of yours part of our essence, part of our being, part of every one of our cells and our bones and our bone marrow. And it's just flowing through our veins in everything we do, in everything we say. Ya Allah, we ask that you make us people of Ikhlas, people of Surah Ikhlas, that we are able to gain your love and your forgiveness and your pleasure and your blessings through this surah. Ya Allah, we ask that you help us love this surah so much, that you make it a part of our daily lives and our daily affairs, that we become people of sincerity, of good words and good actions and good interactions and good reactions. Ya Allah, we ask that you accept this from us, that you bless our homes and our families, and bless this ummah and accept this ummah. Ya Allah, we ask that you grant us that you accept us and accept from us. Ya Allah, that you bless this Ramadan for us, that you accept all of our worship, all of our good deeds, all of our fasting, that you bless Ikhna Relief and its volunteers and its workers and all of its recipients and those that they are serving, Ya Allah, and you open great doors for all of the work that they're doing for your sake, and you accept it from them. Ya Allah, we ask that you forgive us for our sins. We ask that you forgive us for any of our shortcomings, and that you use us as a resource towards you. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Jazakallah khair for being with me. I hope you found great benefit and were able to learn a few things that you will keep with you, inshallah. Please keep my family and me in your du'as. Please keep in touch. You can find me online on Instagram and Facebook under the handle at Tayyaba Rights. And inshallah, there will be more opportunities to come together for Allah's sake.